Right, so I've been off for the last couple of weeks. No internet, deepest Devon, spending time with the family, all was great. And I thought, well,
a lot of GDP around.
Yeah, and no, there wasn't actually. No, there wasn't. It was remarkably undiverse. But the roundabouts were getting painted in the George Cross.
Very based.
And normally when I'm on the podcast, of course, I'm here to keep Rachel Reeves in check, criticise her. But I thought I can go away for 2 weeks, can't I? I can do that. She can surely behave as no. I come back to this.
Did you make her cry the first time?
I hope I was a part of it. I can only hope. Britain is heading for an IMF bailout, economists warn, as Rachel Reeves drags us back to the 1970s. So yes.
One thing that made my father conservative for his entire life was the state of the country in the 1970s, because he was a young man. And he remembers the rolling blackouts, the 3-day work weeks, the rubbish piling up in the streets, the
bodies not getting collected, all that sort
bodies not getting collected, the general economic stagnation, the tyranny of the unions, the fact that the country was just literally falling apart.
I mean, that is a normal day in like Birmingham or Leicester these days.
Sure, but he was from the southwest, so
right? Yes, it shouldn't happen. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was where otherwise should have been lovely. But yeah, no. So he remembers the problems.
Yes.
And once again, we're back here.
I mean, to be fair, the Tories were awful as well.
Yes.
But the difference with the Tories is, even though they were, very biddable for all the globalist left-wing ideas, they weren't ideologically malicious. Yes, they were incompetent, but not ideologically malicious.
I think a lot of it's weakness as well. They knew what ought to have been done.
Yes.
They were just like, I don't think it'll be me, though.
It's an easier life just to carry on paying out.
Correct.
So conditioned into not wanting to be called racist or bigoted.
Go along with all the globalist ideas, the green agenda, all that kind of stuff.
Or even doing anything useful.
Whereas Labour's doing all of that, plus a whole bunch of other ideological stuff as well, and it's just too much.
It's amazing.
Pushed us over the edge. So some interesting quotes from this article, and I picked out the two most left-leaning characters I could find within it. Andrew Sentence is a former member of the Bank of England's rate-setting monetary policy committee. He's quite a left-wing chap.
I imagine he's pretty tightly involved in that sort of stuff.
Well, even he said Rachel Reeves is on course to deliver a Healey 1976-style crisis later this year or early next.
I mean, I just can't believe we're going to need an IMF bailout.
Yes.
That's embarrassing.
I will come to that. Because
fair enough, yeah.
Yes, because whether they got the money or not. Professor Jagjit Chahad, I might be pronouncing that wrong, head of the National Institute for Economic and Social Research think tank, so again a left-wing organisation, a left-wing think tank. He says, we will not be able to roll over our debt. We will not be able to pay pensions or benefits. Yes.
I mean, I kind of hate paying benefits.
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, there are aspects of that I like, to be fair. But if they get to that point, they're probably going to take everything that we have
to pay the benefits.
Yes.
Yeah, but on the plus side, it's not going to last very long.
No, I don't think even our savings compared to the national debt are going to might get you like a fraction of a second.
It's going to be, I mean, literally it would be like, this is like 5 minutes of NHS spending or something.
Yes.
It's like we've looted every saving.
5 minutes of NHS spending, you could get a battleship for that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's going to literally be like, right, we've funded the NHS for another 27 minutes.
Yes.
So, okay, great, you've looted the country. Now what?
Now everything's gone.
Tick-tock, tick-tock.
Not just the Daily Mail. Samsung can have some buttons at work.
I can fix it.
There we go. Telegraph have also been getting in on this. So, Rachel Reeves heading towards an IMF bailout. Yes, very unfortunate.
So, what's this graph here?
Oh, what's this graph? This is borrowing costs. Oh, yes, I'll be coming back to that as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Yes, that is a good one because, of course, he's got all the same sort of quotes in there as well. And it's not just that. Let's see if the button works. Here we go. So, here we go. This is France. So in the UK,
sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I just love it. It's like, yeah, so
it's quite funny.
It's
quite
about
right.
here. Well, France is about to crash the global economy, so enjoy your pensions.
Yes. When the French heard that we were on the verge of an IMF bailout, they were like, "Well, hang on a minute.
We need that bailout.
We need it, yeah." And at least in the UK, they're making half-hearted. They're not trying very hard to deny it.
Yeah.
You know, they've had like one Treasury spokesman go and say, "Oh, you're exaggerating."
Do you think that Spain's going to put their hand up and be like, "Yeah,
quite yes,"
next, and the Italians will be like, "Well,"
I mean, this is a French finance minister, Eric Lombard. No, he's saying no. Actually, we're going to need it. So yes,
amazing.
So coming to your point, so are we going to get a bailout from the IMF? The reason I slightly hesitate on that is, okay, yes, we're going to need one because Labour are running out of money. And everything they're doing is making things worse. Really? But first, if Britain and France need a bailout from the IMF, we need to ask the question: who's actually funding the IMF?
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, where do they get their money?
So there's basically 6 big countries and then a tail of smaller contributions.
Is Britain one of the major contributors?
Well, let me go down the list. Who are the big boys in the IMF?
It's going to be America.
United States. Yes, they're first. Yeah. 16.5% of the voting share. Tiny problem, their debt to GDP ratio is higher than ours.
Oh. But I mean, they're America, so they've got this kind of special carve out when it comes to financial affairs.
To an extent, yes.
No one's going to expect. They're not going to.
They have got 33 trillion in debt, so
that's kind of it's kind of like a fictional thing at this point.
Next in the list is Japan.
Oh, really?
But they've got an even higher debt to GDP than we have. They've got 260%.
Okay. I
mean, we're a bit over 100.
Right. That sounds bad.
So Japan at 260%. I mean, they most certainly have their own problems.
Right.
China.
Oh yeah.
China. They make a relatively small contribution, but it ends up being, one of the top 6 for this. They actually only have debt to GDP of 84%.
Oh.
Yes. And I'm sure the Chinese would just be, desperate to help, the British. I mean, we've got a long history of cooperation. We haven't burnt down several of their major cities for at least 100 years at this point. So
I'll be completely no strings attached, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure they won't want anything for it. Things are looking up. Now, Germany. Germany is the 4th biggest contributor to it, and their debt to GDP ratio is only 65%. So they're actually the only people on the list that are in a position to actually do anything. The only problem is that German banks hold a hell of a lot of debt from British banks, but especially French banks. So if the French system failed, then the German banks would need a bailout. And that would mean that Germany wasn't then in a position to help France and the UK.
And if the British ones fail at the same time,
yes,
so they have to bail out.
Yes, that is a bit of a problem.
Twice.
Quite.
Right.
And the last 2 countries on the list that could help France and the United Kingdom if they get into problems are France and the United Kingdom.
I know it.
So, yes.
Incredible. First world countries, folks.
Yes. Needing an IMF bailout and getting one is a slightly different proposition.
I mean, it's so embarrassing. It's like, yes. They're constantly like, oh, Britain's going to be a world leader in this. It's going to be a world leader in that. It's like, bro, we're getting like 3rd world style bailouts from the IMF.
Yes.
And there's like mass unrest everywhere. Everyone's poor and everyone's fleeing the country. What are you talking about? You've screwed this up.
The things I could fix all of. If I was made Supreme Patriarch of the UK tomorrow, I could fix all of this in a year.
Right, Lord Protector Dan, how would you fix it?
Just getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, shrink the benefits, start capping off the pensions, the NHS, rein that in. No welfare for the immigrants. I mean, it's perfectly easy to do.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
The thing that's impossible to do is to get elected on a platform doing any of that stuff. Any of it. So
that's why Elon Musk fell off with Donald Trump, because even Donald Trump was not brave enough to go after cutting the expenditure, that the so-called the entitlements, as they call it in the US.
Yes.
So nobody wants to touch that, even the Republicans.
Yes, I mean, there's often this idea that you've heard of some silly, crazy scheme that you can cut. I mean, in the Western world, it's all transfer payments. So in the UK, it is the NHS, its pensions and its welfare. Yeah. And also the UK state has the odd battleship and submarine and building and buys some paper clips. But I mean, all of that other stuff is immaterial. It's the big three. Yeah. It's NHS, pensions and welfare. It's transfer payments. And of those, the NHS and pensions, I mean, obviously they're basically just a subsidy of old people.
Of course.
Which were introduced at a time when old people were poor. But now 1 in 5 British boomers is a millionaire. Yeah.
The old people are actually doing quite well.
Yes. And welfare, of course. Yeah. And you're not fixing the system unless you address those three.
The sort of greatest generation and silent generation probably were poor and probably did need.
Oh, they were, yeah. I mean, that is actually that is kind of how we got into. Honestly, how we got into this problem was age demographics. So the greatest generation went on, fought a war, and for whatever reason, fighting a war gets you a bit frisky. So they had lots and lots of children. And then the boomers in the 80s, they were kind of looking at their parents' generation. Yeah. And they thought, and what they realised was that being old and being poor was basically the same thing. So if you wanted a programme to help poor people, you just targeted old people because it served exactly the same function. Helping old people and helping poor people was the same. So they bolstered out the NHS. They brought in a whole load of extra benefits for the pension, and eventually that ends up in the triple lock or the quadruple lock or whatever it is you're going to end up with. And it's very easy to do in the 80s because there was lots of boomers working and very few retired people, and the retired people didn't tend to live very long after they retired. The problem is when those boomers then start to get to this point where they're all rolling out of the workforce, well, there isn't a commensurately large generation propping up behind them.
And this is the real problem. The boomers shrunk the generations that come after them.
Yes.
Every generation after the boomers has been smaller.
Yes.
So when the boomers, a massive generation, retire, we can't afford to pay for them.
Well, it used to be something like 4 working age people for every retired person.
Yes.
And now it's about balanced.
But the boomers only wanted 2 kids.
Yes.
Way easier.
Well, and so that's the first problem. That then leads us on to the second problem. And the second problem is, well, if the boomers didn't have enough kids, well, why don't we just import loads and loads of people?
The only option.
You see, Bob, who grew up in Surrey, and has been acclimatised to this country and knows how it works and is culturally compatible.
Is of the country.
Yeah, is exactly comparable to...
His granddad?
No. What's a typical name in Bamalia?
Abdul?
Yes, Abdul. He is exactly interchangeable with Abdul. And that is genuinely how our number crunchers in this country work. Yes. They say, okay, well, look, the economy is that big and it's got that many people in it. So we know what the GDP per capita is.
Yes.
So if we increase the number of people, then the GDP per capita will stay exactly the same because Abdul from Bamalia is exactly interchangeable with Bob. And then the GDP will grow.
They're 2 steps ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Brilliant plan. The only problem is that it didn't work.
Oh.
Yes.
Is it
Why
something
not?
to do with remittances?
Well, no, it turns out that Admiral Fatma from Bamalia, when they turned up, they didn't actually get an accounting job.
Oh.
They just kind of went on benefits.
He also brought 4 grandmas who all needed benefits.
Well, yes. So all the bills went up, but no, the GDP didn't arrive as well. So the boomer problem led to the immigration problem, and none of those have actually stuck. I mean, there's been other things. I might do a Brokenomics on this to sort of fully flesh this out, or maybe I'll do that this week. But the response to 2008 was disastrous as well. So after 2008, they thought, well, so the banks, they've had a bit of a problem, have they? Tell you what, from now on, banks are only going to lend to the government and on housing debt. So that's why houses continue to surge and they keep getting more expensive, but no new businesses are open.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that loaning money to businesses was a good and clever idea.
Yes, so basically when banks create loans, they create money.
Yes.
So if you're doing that and you're putting it into a small business, which in turn in future generates more money, that's a multiplier effect. And that's good money creation.
I would suggest that's actually how a real economy is created, right?
Well, yes, that is how both America and China became superpowers, by doing that exact thing.
Because if you're just pouring it into fixed equity,
yes,
like a house,
yes,
that doesn't actually generate money.
But if after 2008, if you take all of the loan, the money creation out of the economy and put it purely in the government and housing, what you get is a boom in government and housing.
No kidding.
Yes. Yeah, so there is that.
Shame we didn't get that boom in business, isn't it?
Yes, it is a little bit unfortunate. It's worth drawing the comparison, of course, with Miss Truss.
Yes.
Because do you remember Miss Truss?
Vaguely.
Yes.
Every time I look at my mortgage statement, I remember.
Well, you say that because she has sort of become a byword for financial incompetence.
Which seems a bit unfair given the Labour government.
Well, no, two things happened with Liz Truss, right? And they happened on pretty much the same day. She came out with a mini budget and said, I'm very slightly going to decrease the top rate of tax.
Crazy.
Okay, so that's one thing that happened.
Unheard of.
On the same day, the Bank of England also said, we are going to sell an absolute shit ton of bonds.
Really? Now, what does that mean when they do that?
Well, if you flood the market with anything, the price tends to go down.
I believe so, yeah.
Now, what happened that day is the price of bonds went down. And the rest of the world looked at this and said, oh, look, the government, the Bank of England has just dumped a shitload of bonds on the market. And also Liz Truss has very, very slightly reduced the top rate of tax. Which one of these things have caused the price of the bonds to crash? Well, it's obviously Liz Truss's very, very minor tax decrease.
So, I mean, this is why Liz Truss has been saying that the Bank of England snaked her to get her out of power, because they are not happy with the idea of a very, very minor tax cut.
Well, so opinions differ amongst economists as to which is true. Economists who know what they're talking about, and people like me, say that it was 100% the Bank of England.
It looks that way.
And the entire
say the other.
The entire establishment, the entire media, the entire government class, Whitehall, they all say no, it was Liz Truss' very tiny tax cut that did it.
Yeah, to be fair to Liz Truss, this is something that these obscure, unelected powers, banks, central banks, or the so-called rating agencies do. They wreak havoc with democracies and the will of the people. They did exactly the same thing, almost exactly the same thing, with the government of Silvio Berlusconi, which for a long time, until this current government, was the last democratically elected prime minister of Italy.
Yeah, they just scrapped democracy after that, didn't they?
Exactly, because this, I don't know if it was a Standard & Poor or whoever it was, these rating agencies, they wake up and they say, okay, your credit or credibility index, whatever it's called, is no longer AAA+. We just remove the plus or one of the A's, and suddenly the interest you pay on your government debt skyrockets, and the government, everybody panics.
Well,
the government.
That's why I mentioned Liz Truss, because the evidence given for why she was so incompetent, after, with that setup, is that long-term government borrowing costs went to 4.8%. Right?
Yeah, but it was artificial.
4.8%. So bear in mind, 4.8% is considered to be such a large number that your name can become a byword for financial incompetence if you go beyond 4.8%.
I mean, it sounds bad.
Should we have a look at where the UK is?
Under Rachel Reeves?
Under Rachel Reeves. So this is a chart of the last 6 months of where rates are. Let's put it, here we go. Last 6 months of where rates are 5.7.
Right.
In fact, it has not been below 5 for this entire year.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So when was it last at 4.8%, just out of interest? I mean, if we...
You might need... Here we go.
So right.
You put it on the 5 years and you might be able to see the Liz Truss blip. Yeah, there you go.
This would be the Liz Truss blip.
There you go.
Okay.
Which today, that would be considered a considerable reduction in rates.
Well, yes. I mean, that is...
Yeah.
And that's been that way for at least 6 months.
Oh, the entire year we've not been below 5%.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
Interesting. So when does Rachel Reeves get kicked out? When does Keir Starmer get kicked out? Because
the other thing I should mention is, okay, yes, the IMF bailout is unlikely because they haven't got enough money. But what could really...
Sorry, just a book growth. Yeah, the IMF would love to give you a bailout. We just haven't got it,
Yes.
Sorry.
Slightly unfortunate.
Oh, God.
The Laffer curve.
Yes.
So the idea is the Laffer curve, it starts and ends at 0. If the tax rate is 0, you collect 0 in tax. If the tax rate is 100%, you also collect 0 in tax, because what's the point of working if everything immediately gets taken away from you? And so there's a curve in the middle, and you're basically, the concern is, and I would make this case, that we're already beyond the top of the Laffer curve. So any tax rises from here are going to result in less tax being collected rather than more.
Well, they've already found that from the last year's budget, haven't they?
Well, they have, but the black hole that the government has got is getting larger. I mean, to put this in perspective, take June, for example.
I can't believe they couldn't fill in a black hole.
Yes. In June, the government borrowed, was it 20.7 billion, I think. 20.7 billion they borrowed in June. The worrying thing is, do you know how much of that was just paying the interest on the debt?
Oh, it's something like a third or something, isn't it?
16 billion.
Whoa,
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Jesus. So 3/4 of it is servicing
Yes.
debt. Jesus Christ.
Yes, it's not good. You can see why we're heading...
Black
towards...
hole isn't getting filled in. I don't know what's going on. It's getting bigger.
Now, you asked how I would fix it. I would fix it by massively cutting spending.
Yes.
But cutting spending is ideological kryptonite to Labour. So there is zero chance they're going to do that.
Yeah. Well,
So
Abdul's granny needs those benefits.
Well, yes, but the big crisis will come when she's going to have a budget fairly soon.
Yeah.
And in that budget, she's almost certainly not going to substantially cut spending across the board. She's almost certainly going to raise taxes.
Yes.
Now, when she raises taxes by a huge amount and tax revenue collection actually goes down, that's what really triggers the crisis.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, the Labour government have got no idea, and everything they're doing is making everything worse rather than better.
And everything's punitive at that point.
Yeah, so I'm
going after like things that it's just everything, but like, the tax on unrealized gains and stuff like that. So that's money that doesn't exist. We're just going to tax you for money that doesn't exist just because screw you.
Unrealized capital gains or something.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
The concept itself.
Some sort of nonsense like this. So the markets are well aware that the next budget is crucial.
Yes, and coming.
Keir Starmer is well aware that the next budget is crucial. If she doesn't land it, Labour are possibly finished, because if we end up going to the IMF, there'll be a vote of no confidence, or they'll be forced out of government some other way. Yeah. So the next budget is absolutely crucial. So what Keir Starmer has done is he's looked through his Rolodex and he's found the most economically competent people he can, and he's had a mini reshuffle, and he's put them around Rachel Reeves to keep an eye on her while she's preparing this budget. And if we get into the situation that I talked about, where they put up taxes and then tax revenue actually goes down, the result of that will be, well, at that point they either need to massively cut spending, which they should be doing now, or more likely they just print the money.
Yeah.
And if they print money, then the value of the pound will fall. So you can already tell what the market thinks about this reshuffle by the direction of the currency, because markets are obviously not going to wait around for the printing to begin. They're going to start selling off now. So if this reshuffle goes ahead, which it has done this morning, and the pound rises, it's worked, and if the pound falls, it's failed. So let's check out how that went, shall we? Pound falls sharply in wake of Starmer's reset. Oh dear.
At least Angela Rayner looks cool.
There is that, yes.
Not her problem, is it?
Three
homes, Ange.
I would say it's very much her opportunity, actually. I mean, she could be Prime Minister in 6 months.
I'm sure she'll fix all of the problems.
Yes.
Because the thing is, these people have just got nowhere to go, right? Like they know they're not going to do cuts, so there's nothing they're going to do. They can't somehow magically increase growth. Like
sharp fall in the pound. There's some great bits in there. Government net approval rate hits lowest level.
No kidding.
Yeah, because people...
sorry. Go up. 11%. Who are these mythical 11%?
They probably work for the Labour Party or the
NHS
service.
Yeah.
There was my relationship with Reeve is stronger. Yeah, she hasn't got long left, has she? Starmer to chair meeting on immigration. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, has it got to the point we actually have to do something about it? More pain for Labour in the polls. Sacking Reeves would be kinder than this humiliation.
David Lammy doesn't have a clue what's going on.
There was a fantastic... this keeps getting added to, but there was...
Yeah.
Oh, I loved this bit, yes. So, Labour peer, things haven't been fantastic.
British understatement.
Typical British.
Yeah.
What was that? Baroness Count Harkonnen or something insisted on Tuesday. Where's the quote? Yes, I'm not going to sugar the pill and say everything has been fantastic. Far from it. Yes, that's about right. And somewhere in here we've got a chart of the pound. There we go. One of the biggest one-day falls in many a year. So slightly unfortunate. I will end on a quote, however, from Keir Starmer. And the quote is, "The government has lost control of the British economy, and for what? They've crashed the pound, for what? Higher interest rates, higher inflation, higher borrowing, and for what? Not for you." That was a quote by Keir Starmer. Now, he said it 3 years ago.
During the reign of Liz Truss, yes.
But nevertheless, entirely pertinent.
Who are the men that pick for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellaheen, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellaheen condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.lotuseaters.com.